I just wanted to hit y'all up with a little Bible talk this morning. I was having a pretty interesting conversation with a buddy last night, and we were talking about the Bible, and we talked about some things in the Bible that are like taboo to Christians. One of the things we talked about was raising the dead or consulting the dead. And he asked me, did I think it was okay as a Christian to consult the dead, him being the Christian. And I said, yeah, why not? I thought about the whole thing and I was like, I think Christians get spooked about raising the dead or conjuring the dead or talking to spirits of the deceased loved ones. I think it may come from, the Old Testament, and Moses forbid people to consult mediums or talk to the dead and that kind of thing. And then if you fast forward, I think he said that in the book of Deuteronomy when he laid down the law. But then, if you fast forward to the later on, I'm not sure what book, but King Saul, they were in battle with the Philistines, and he was worried about the outcome of the battle. I guess they were losing, so he was told that about the witch of Endor. He wanted to consult a medium to find out the future. So he got information on this witch of Endor, and so he traveled to the place where this witch was, and she conjured up the dead spirit of Samuel. So when Samuel appeared, it appears that it seems as though he was pretty pissed off about being awakened. And he straight up asked Saul, why have you summoned me? And he was like, because you have done this, tomorrow night at this time, you will be here with me. And sure enough, the next day, Saul died in battle. I believe he like fell on his sword or something like that, but he died. So I think it's because of that incident. And then, back in time when Moses forbade, doing that, practicing, consulting mediums and whatnot. I think that's why Christians get spooked. However, if you to the New Testament, fast forward to the New Testament, and then there's a story where Jesus took three of his disciples. I believe it was Peter, James, and his brother John, and he took them to a high mountain. And so they went up to this mountain, and the disciples stopped at one point. Jesus went a little bit further, and there appeared with him Moses and Elijah, who were already dead. You recall Moses died back in the Old Testament, and he didn't make it to the promised land. And Elijah was picked up by a chariot of fire, and he was kind of like translated, much in the same way that Enoch was, is what I believe. So, basically, Jesus is consulting the dead. Jesus is consulting the dead. And then after he finished, you hear about the big cloud and a booming voice from the cloud saying, "This is my son in whom I am well pleased." And the disciples fell to the ground. They closed their eyes and they trembled with fear. They had like a panic attack. So after the booming voice and whatnot, um, Jesus came over and touched them, and he said, "Get up and don't be afraid." And then when they opened their eyes, it was Jesus there by himself. Jesus was there, and Elijah and Moses, they had gone. So here's the thing. Moses said, "Don't consult the dead." And it's kind of ironic that the man who didn't make it to the promised land, came back from the dead. He kind of violated the law he laid. And if you think about that, why didn't he get pissed off like Samuel got pissed off at Saul? Why didn't he just say, "Hey, dude, what are you doing? You're making me look bad. Why have you called me here? Why are you conjuring me up?" No, but he didn't do that. I mean, for whatever reason, Moses and Elijah came. I don't know, but it does seem to contradict what the law Moses gave. And it does seem that, Christ violated the law, because Christ did say, I came not to destroy the law, but to ensure that it all comes true. So it seems to be a contradiction. So I'm not sure what that's about. But the reason why I also say you can consult the dead, because Christ goes on to tell his people, the things I do, you can do, you shall do, and even greater things you can do. So if Jesus can do it, you can do it. If you have the spirit of a dead loved one you want to consult, I mean, why not? I mean, Jesus did it. So uh, that's my take on that situation. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.